Mine is not because I have to retitle everything because I stream everything. Okay, I have almost started. There we go. I have now started. All right. Just to let you know, there is a full track map option now, which is nice.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. We are now live. So hello everybody. Welcome to the UDL F1 League round number 2 of season 2 and the championship here at the Bahrain GP. My name is Mr. Damage, and of course, I'm with my co-host John. How you doing, John?
I am doing great, and I'm ready to see a great race here tonight at Bahrain.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be an absolute cracker of a race. Last week out, we had an amazing race that ended. Let's just say the ending wasn't exactly what we hoped for, but hey, we can always try again, and here we are trying again in Bahrain and for the UDL F1 League Season 2. Last time out, our winner was Shawsome after the penalties came through, so he is the points leader. Second place got snapped up by Snipper Pig and Racer X and P3 in the championship currently. Last year's Bahrain GP was the pole position was won with a 128.009 by Sinister Owl 43 in the Renault. So now this year he'll be in the Ferrari trying to do it again.
Yeah, if we have any indication from what Australia showed us that those pole times are going to go down way further than we anticipate.
I will say a sneaky beaver in my ear has told me that that a lot of the front runners will actually be qualifying on the medium compound tires. And so if this is true, then we might not see too much of a jump in the pole position time. And as I'm saying that, Shaw is on the mediums, Racer X is on the hards, and Honos as well is on the mediums. Snipper Pig is on the outlap on the softs. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
Now, let's see if I can find somebody to jump on board with. I'll jump on board with the defending pole sitter Snipper Pig as he breaks going into turn 1. There's a Haas off track that is most likely Combe, as well as a Williams is now. The Ferrari opens up his DRS going down up to turn 4 on this wonderful Bahrain GP track. As now we come down the hill through this left, right, and then back to the left of turns 5, 6, and 7, and then to the turn 8 hairpin right before the DRS detection zone number 2 of the lap going into this left-hand bend. This is a very hard corner, turns 9 and 10, hardest corner on the track, very easy to lock up and go wide. Looks like Snipper takes it pretty well. The Red Bull behind seems like he has quite a bit of pace. That would most likely be get that money and run, as now we go through turn number 11 and then through the fast right-hander of turn 12. Drew Hughes sets the first lap of the qualifying session, and now through the nice long right-hander of turn 13. Don't want to go too wide there. You will be invalidated as now we come up to the final corners, turns 14 and the little kink of 15. Very hard corner to get correctly. Very easy to go wide here on this curb, and you don't want to touch it. If you touch that curb, your car will yeet itself off of the track. Is now Snipper Pig. And it was a graphical glitch, so he's actually on the hards as Zeus has the fastest lap of the session so far to 28.8.
So it should be noted that we have a few drivers that are replacing some leaving drivers of the league from the last race. Lucas is not leaving, but he cannot currently fill a full-time driver slot, so he has been moved to a reserve seat, being replaced by Dilsack. And also Greco has left the league, so that will be replaced by another driver.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, Dilsack in the Toro Rosso is now a full-time driver at Toro Rosso. His drive for them last race really put a big implication on Helmut Marko. As now Helmut has decided to employ the driver for the new year or the new season. So now Honos is coming up to the line. He goes up to pole position on the mediums with a 128.480.
Another thing that should also be said is Cone Dodger coming over as a reserve tonight off of his LMP2 slot in WEC.
Yeah, Cone was a very much last-minute reserve driver here for us today. He will be filling in for the missing Pecan. Is now get that money and run, puts in a pole position time or provisional pole position time of 128.142 on the soft compound tires. Quite a few drivers in this top 10 running on the alternate tires.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting for strategy if within the top 10 running on mediums and softs. So
yeah, it's going to be very fun to watch as now Sinister Owl puts it on the same grid as his Ferrari teammate MP8 on the hards. These drivers are actually showing some pretty good pace on those hard compound tires. 129s are very hard to do. So this strategy will most likely work out for them, not having to do a two-stop. But it's going to be interesting watching them have to drive through the field here.
Very. I'm curious on whether they will stay on the hards for the rest of qualifying or maybe switch over to the mediums or softs.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but them being on the harder compounds definitely going to make things a hell of a lot more interesting. Now Super Big coming around to set another flying lap. He goes a 128.921, enough to stay in P7. The Williams and Lucas come across the line now. Lucas jumps up into P8. The Williams of Kill the Birdman is starting his first flying lap. We're in that dull section where people are going to be pitting and starting a new run.
So this is looking like it's going to be a really great race.
Yeah, with all these different strategies put in, this is going to be a very fun race to watch. It's now the pink boy of Shaw. He's going into the pit lane. Sinister Owl coming around the final corner. Will he be pitting as well? It looks like he will be. Let's see. We've got Racer X coming to the final corner to start a flying lap. One of the Haas's of Cone Dodger has now came out of the pit lane. He's going into turn 1. This new track map feature was just introduced into the game, and I'm very happy to have it. If any of you in the chat want it gone, we can very easily get rid of it, but I just like to have it because we can see where everybody is on track.
That same goes for my screen as well. So
yeah, I mean we can keep with the driving, the incidents, any sort of like racing that's going on, any battles. We can really keep up with that well, as well as qualifying session. Keep it up with where everybody is on track. Kill the Birdman goes up into P12. Lucas pulls into the pit lane off of his flying lap. Masashiro coming around the final corner. He also pits. And the field spread here seems to be pretty damn close. We've got Drew Yu coming around the final corner now. Slowest driver so far to make a lap in that Williams. And he will most likely improve on his next flying lap as he just starts this one. Next car to cross the line will be one of the McLarens. They're on their out lap, as well as Dilsack, who is also coming on the final corner. We've got Cone Dodger once again spinning out in the third sector. Shouts to him.
I got to give Cone Dodger credit, not having much practice on this game and coming in last minute to just help out a fellow league member is very great. So
yeah. So a little bit of information for you guys. So we still have we have of the cars on track. We have Get That Money and Run, Honos, and Racer X all on mediums. Jill Sack and Real Space Hero on softs. Kill the Birdman on softs. Drew Yu on softs and Cone on softs. Breezy set his fastest lap on the medium compound tires as well. Very good lap there from Racer X, actually. And it'll be very interesting to see if the Ferraris do put on the mediums. It looks like they are, actually. The graphic just changed.
That'll be interesting to see what laps they can pull. Those were blisteringly fast laps on the hards.
Yes, they were. To put them in, putting them in the 28s on hards, it's going to be very interesting to see who gets this pole position here.
And
Drew barely improves in his lap.
Remind me again, what was last year's pole position time set by Sinister Al?
28.00 something. Let me see. 28.009. So these drivers haven't really sped up too much, but as I say that, the fastest drivers are on alternate strategies here. So it'll be very interesting to see how fast they can go on these mediums and hards. Because now all the guys on hards have swapped to mediums.
It's very interesting to see the improvement in these drivers from last year, whether it be, through outright pace or just race strategy, because they've really shown improvement in both areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure the complete race time will be a lot faster this year around compared to last year. Last year, the top two guys both had issues in the race, and that allowed the driver of Amsterdam Demon to take the win last year, back whenever he was in the Red Bull seat. Alright, so now this qualifying session is going to start getting a little more fun as these drivers start coming out of the pit lane. 5 minutes left on the timer, and look at all those dots just sitting there in the pit lane waiting for the right time to go out.
Sorry, talking to a fellow manager here.
Alright, so got a few more drivers coming out for outlaps. Glen Coco still hasn't set a time, neither has Imperial Cone Dodger. Really far down on the time list. Impulse goes up into P2 with a 128.213 on the soft compound tires, importantly. He was the only driver to improve on that lap. Get that money run, pulls into the pit lane. Lucas goes up at a P7 for Toro Rosso. Great qualifying session so far for the Italian-based team. As now we jump to kill the Birdman, or actually Drew Yu coming around the final corner now. Let's see if he improves on his lap time as he pulls into the pit lane.
Red Bull's got to be very happy with these preliminary qualifying times.
Absolutely. Red Bull on the front row right now is a great thing for them if they can hold on to it. This is going to be a very interesting race to watch with these split strategies. Both of the Ferraris on the track. One of the Alphas on the track, Racer X, still in the pit lane. It looks like Racer's going to be going for a one-and-done run. Ready. So now we've got Glen Coco coming around to the start-finish line. Let's see what he can do. He goes up at a P9, puts himself into the top 10, and pushes those two Ferraris down, and Breezy just a little bit further. Breezy starts his flying lap. Quite a few drivers go into the pit lane. Their qualifying session will be done. Pono's coming around to start a flying lap now. This driver crossing now can most likely get at least one extra lap in. Masashiro and Lucas both coming to the plane. Their qualifying session will be over. It's going to start coming onto a head really quick. Got a caution in sector 2. We're going to off in the turns 5, 6, and 7. Real Space Hero puts in a purple final sector to go up into P2, 1,000th of a second ahead of Impulse in P3 on the soft compound tires.
Very close.
So now we have the 2 Ferraris coming down the back. Snipper Pig just set a purple middle sector on those medium compound tires. But first, Sinister Owl coming across the line very soon. His DRS. And he will be coming across the line. Go up into P4. Great lap on those mediums. Is now Snipper Pig comes across the line to go P2.
Wow.
He ties. Running run. Oh my. Okay.
Oh my god.
I gotta calm down. Okay, so now Breezy next across the line. He will go up into P7. One of the Red Bulls comes across the line to start their final flying lap when Coco goes into the pit lane. There is a Ferrari crossing the line now of Zeus. He does not improve. A McLaren is spun at the exit of the final corner. That is Honos. He's facing the wrong direction. You better be careful or else he'll get disqualified. We got Drew Hughes starting his final flying lap now.
This is looking like it's going to be an incredible battle between Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari throughout the entire race.
Wow. Don't forget about Alpha either. They're right there.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Fun. This is going to be... Woohoo! Oh, my God, I'm pumped up. As now the other McLaren of Real Space Hero comes into the pit lane, so his qualifying session will be done. There are 24 seconds left on the clock. Racer X might not even make it to the finish line. He's got 17 seconds. Let's see. He might make it. He'll be very close. He might be the last driver to cross the finish line before the session ends. So now we will be looking back to the first red car of Sinister Owl on those medium compound tires. He opens up that DRS and he crosses the line to go up into... He does not improve. Sniffer Pig does not improve either. Dilsack crosses the line, does not improve. Let's see if anybody else improves. The Imperial crosses the line. One of the Red Bulls crosses the line of Get That Money and Run. He does not improve. Breezy crosses the line, goes up into P8. Zeus and Drew Yu did not improve. Now we got another Haas coming across the line now of Cone Dodger. And then Shawsome goes up into P10. Kill the Birdman takes away P15 from his teammate Drew Yu. And now the last driver to finish their lap will be Racer X. He's currently in the middle sector. Unless the Ferrari's got across the line in time. It looks like Snipper Pig is pushing, so Snipper is currently a 10th and some change up on his lap, so he might be able to finish his qualifying section. But everybody else is out of it. Racer X, 2.5 tenths up. He's had a purple middle sector there on this final flying lap. Let's see what he can do. He is around 3.5 tenths off of the pole position, so if he can gain another 10th here in this final sector, he will have the provisional pole position. Let's see what he can do. He goes up at a P7, loses a little bit of time in that final sector. Now we jump to Snipper Pig coming out of the final corner. Let's see if he can improve at all. And he does. He goes to 127.8 on those medium compound tires. Wonderful lap from him.
Impressive.
And I think that's the end of the qualifying session, but I could be wrong. Oh, wow. So the timer was either off or there's something going on. Breezy sets a time for P6 as Lucas comes across the line, does not improve. Masashiro to cross the line next. He does not improve. Next up is a Haas driver of Cone Dodger. He does not improve. Red Bull and a Williams, neither one improves as well. And the last car to cross the line officially will be Shawsome, and he does not improve on his lap.
Incredible qualifying.
Absolutely, that was great.
Top 13.
Wow.
Below the 28s. Or in
Below
the
the
28s. Yeah, sorry.
But more importantly, look at this gap. between P1 and let's see, P1 and P13 is a second. Okay, but
Very
then like
impressive.
P2 to let's see, P2 to P9, 2/10 within 2/10. Unbelievable qualifying session here at Bahrain. This is going to be shape up to be a really good session. Going to ask
Incredibly
every.
close. Okay, now we are going to have a brief intermission while I set up the race lobby. If you want to get in any people for some interviews.
I will be, in fact. Um, did you take a screenshot of that by chance?
Yes.
Okay. That was nice. I mean, to have two drivers tied at one point in qualifying is exceptional, and then another two drivers a thousandth of a second apart. Like, whew, the
Exactly.
top four was so close right there, and then the top eight. I mean, the top eight is incredibly close. This is going to be a very fun GP to watch, especially with all of these different strategies going in. So, on the alternate strategy, starting on the medium compound tires, will be Snifferpig in the Ferrari in P1,
It is
Breezy in P6.
50%
Sinister
race
in
distance, right?
yeah. Sinister in P8, Racer X in P9, and Honos in P10, all starting on the mediums, and then get that money and run in P2, Real Space Hero in P3, Impulse, Zeus in P5, and Lucas in P7. All will be starting on the soft compound tires. All the soft runners will have a great start to this race. We all know that the softs get off the line better than the mediums, but the mediums will be better at the end of the soft tire stint. Will not be surprised to see a Red Bull or a McLaren out front on the first lap if Snifferpig makes any sort of mistakes or just doesn't have the same race pace that he does in qualifying. But man, this is going to be fun. Wow.
Okay. I will write you. Yes. Invite everybody. Do you have everybody to invite? Okay, I'm gonna invite everybody as well. Wow, I feel special. Yes.
Scroll through.
1 second. Did you invite everybody? Okay. I gotta wait for everybody to get in here.
Yeah, true.
We have no interviews for today, apparently. Who else are we waiting on?
We are waiting on Boknos, who's not here.
Yep.
We are waiting on Get That Money.
He is in.
Zeus.
Again, we do apologize for the blue screens. Is Bossman in here? Was he in quali? Okay. Okay.
In this car, so get to the custom grid part.
How do I do custom grid again?
Go to the options, race options, and then yeah, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, sniffer in P1.
Oh wait, race options?
It's somewhere. Just look through everything.
Host option. Grid editor. Okay. Yep.
Okay, so sniffer in P1.
Yep.
Get That Money in P2.
That must be here. Okay.
Roll Space Hero in P3.
Yep.
Impulse in P4.
Okay.
Zeus in P5.
Alright.
Breezy in P6.
Okay.
Lucas in P7.
Yep.
Sinister in P8.
Yeah, if I can find Sinister. Okay.
Racer X in P9.
Got it.
Onos in P10.
Yep.
Shawsome in P11.
Got it.
Dilsack in P12.
Okay.
Glen Coco in P13.
Okay.
Masashiro in P14.
Yep.
Kill the Birdman in P15.
Okay.
Drew in P16.
Yep.
Imperial in P17.
And Conan E18.
Colin in last. Alright, so nobody wanted to do an interview. They're all in their serious mode. So,
Okay.
I'll go ahead and go over our power rankings after Australia as the lobby starts. Sinister Owl is the head man on the power rankings, 1.5 points ahead of Sniffer Pig. I'm doing it out of 50. Sinister had 46.5. Sniffer Pig 45 out of 50. Shawsome 44 out of 50. Racer X 41. Dulsack in 5th with 36.5. Drew Yu with a 36 in P6. Pecan in 7th with a 33. Glen Coco with a 30 score. Honos with a 26. And then Greco with a 22. That is our power rankings after Australia. I'm sure they'll get shooken up a little bit. It'll be on a average score basis. So we'll see what we got. Now we are here. Session starts in 29 seconds because everybody's waiting for everybody to connect.
Looks like we got a fan of Zeus in your stream.
Yeah, we do. Zeus is the best. Coming from Mateo. I don't know how to say your last name. Mateo? I don't know. Sorry. Fun fact for you. Right there. Mark Webber made his 200th GP start at Bahrain. Fun fact. Man, this announcer is really entertaining. Got Pecan in the chat. Oh boy's not here. We got Cohen in your seat, bro. He's fast. I love you, Cohen. Kind of. Or introvert? Oh, I can't tell. Alright. Here we are for the formation lap. Go ahead and check everybody's tires. It looks like everybody's on the correct tire compound. So here we are. Bahrain GP. Sniffer Pig with his second pole position of the year. 2 for 2 so far. The Red Bull on the front row of Get That Money and Run. Rule Space Hero and Impulse on the second row. The Haas driver of Zeus in P5 and Breezy in P6 on the mediums, Lucas. In P7, a great qualifying session for the Toro Rosso driver. And Sinister Owl in P8. Racer X in P9, only 4.5 tenths off of P2. Very close, or 3.5 tenths off of P2. Very close qualifying session there. Honos in P10 after spinning in the final corner, coming to finish his final flying lap. Shawsome in P11. Dulsack in P12 on the 6th row of the grid. Glen Coco and Masashiro on the 7th row. Kill the Birdman and Drew Yu, both Williams drivers, filling up the 8th row of the grid. And Imperial and Cone Dodger rounding out the field in the Renault and Haas.
Got a great looking field here. Looks like it's going to be a very close race.
Absolutely. This is going to be a very fun one to watch. I love seeing this diversity in the front with all these different cars. It's really nice to see all these teams get in the spotlight here. Like both of the Red Bulls last time around in Australia had a collision with each other and took each other out of the race. Very unfortunate for them. As we come around the final corner now to take our grid slots.
Like we had two cars make a collision with each other. That being Real Space Hero and cannot tell one of the Get That Money and Run in the Red Bull.
Okay, very interesting. As now the Ferrari takes its spot in P1. The Haas of Cone pulling into his grid slot The lights are coming on now. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And the lights are out. And okay. And the lights are out. And away we go for the Bahrain GP. Snipper Pig gets a great start off of the front row of the grid. Impulse gets a great start as well. He's alongside Real Space Hero. They're 3 wide going into turn 1. Zeus trying to go around the outside. Looks like we've gone through pretty cleanly here. Doesn't look like... Oh, as I say that, Zeus spins coming through turn 2 and get that money and run. Takes P1 away from Snipper Pig. Snipper Pig looks to the inside, but bides his time just a little bit. Space up into P3 and Impulse in P4. Lucas with a good start. He's up into P5. And Racer X as well with a great start. He's in P7. Shawsome starting in P11 is already up into P8. As now we come down into the hairpin in Sector 2. There's a collision towards the rear of the field. Dilsack has spun. He is backwards on the track. Not quite sure what happened there. I could see it in the background as now all the drivers filter through turn 10. Looks like the Renault of Glen Coco goes a little bit wide. A great start from him. He started very far back in the field, I believe. I don't remember. Snipper Pig and Real Space Hero side by side. Snipper trying to hold on to this position. He'll have the inside for this long right-hander. Very hard to go around the outside here, but Space with a great move goes around the outside of Snipper Pig there in that right-hander to take away P2. And like I was saying earlier, these mediums from Snipper are going to be a little slower on pace here at the start of this race than those softs.
Yeah, he's really relying on strategy towards the end of the stint to really get him that edge in the beginning of the race, which honestly I think it might work out well for him because of he can definitely keep the pace up even on those mediums.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a look going into turn 1 on Real Space Hero, but not quite close enough to make anything happen as he pulls back in line and stays put in his position. Got the Ferrari of Sinister Owl right on the back of Shawsome. He looks to the inside, a little bit of a peek. Hey, I'm here, buddy. But not quite close enough to make any sort of a move. These two drivers fought hard last week. The entire race up in the top 4, but now they're fighting for P8 here. So very big swing in momentum for them. Get that money and run off to a great start. He's already out of the DRS zone of Real Space Hero by 1.5 seconds. The gap is. So great start from him to pull away just a little bit and get away from that DRS before lap 3. So now we have two drivers side by side, Breezy and Lucas. Breezy looking to the inside here and going into turn 11, and they're still side by side. He'll have to hold on to it around the outside. Let's see the outside as well, but cuts into him, and Racer X goes extremely wide and drops all the way down to the P10, and then he just drives straight into the wall. So not quite sure what's going on there, but seems like there's a little bit of frustration there from the Alpha driver.
I definitely saw a bit. I do apologize for that.
So we jump back up towards the front of this field. Real Space Hero is still holding on to P2 right in front of Snipper, but Snipper will have that DRS coming up into turn 4. Not a very long DRS straight, so not really too much of a chance to get there unless you're already on their diffuser. Looks like there's no other battles going on in the points currently. Let's say that Glen Coco is right on the back of Kill the Birdman, and he makes the move for the final point, but Kill the Birdman with a great over-under there. Takes back P10 for now. Breezy 1.5 seconds back from Impulse, so he does not have that DRS on P4 quite yet. Get that money and run. Extends his read just a little bit more. It's at about 2 seconds now. Super Big in the DRS zone of Real Space Hero. Impulse right behind in the DRS train as well. Space is going to be under immense pressure here from the Ferrari.
Very interesting set of events in the first few laps of this race.
Absolutely. I mean, all these drivers are so close on pace on the compounds that they're on, so very much looking to see a lot of battles here at the start, especially with all the medium runners compared to the softs. And it's really showing that the mediums can hang, but the softs were just a little bit better at the start. Real Space Hero goes defensive up towards turn 1. He's pulling a Pagano, weaving back and forth, and Snipper goes up the inside. A great dummy move from him to try to get it done, but not quite able to get it done. Real Space Hero holds on to it around the outside for now, but the McLaren will be under immense pressure here coming up into turn 4. Snipper takes a peek up the inside and goes for it, but still not quite close enough to get anything done. And as they battle, Get Out Money and Run has pulled another 8/10 on the pair of them.
Get That Money and Run is really trying to take advantage of the pace of the softs right off.
Yeah, and he must be really paying Space a lot to keep Snipper behind. Space is doing a great job of it currently. Just because he has that little bit of extra corner exit speed because of those softer tires, it's really helping him on these DRS straights, getting out of those corners fast. Sinister Owl, Lucas, and Shawsome all in very close proximity of each other. Shawsome just got past Lucas. Now we'll see if Sinister Owl can follow suit. Sinister, a very lowly P9 for the Ferrari driver. He's going to be looking for his strategy to help him out quite a lot in this race to get up towards the higher points paying positions. Now Snipper once again in that DRS of Real Space Hero within 0.4 of a second here, coming across the line, 0.3 of a second in between
going for
the two.
A pass on impulse.
They're side by side, 2 rows. Snipper trying to go around the outside of Real Space Hero. He's still there. He's got the inside for turn 2. Breezy makes it work on Impulse. Gets a worse exit, so Impulse will have a better run. Snipper Pig didn't quite get past there in turn 3. As now he'll have the inside for turn 4, and he does get it done there, and then Breezy gets it done on Impulse there. So Snipper up into P2 and Breezy into P4, both on the mediums.
Very good passes there.
And as they battle here, Get That Money and Run, 4 seconds ahead. He's just slowly pulling away, making a gap. He
is very quick on those softs. He's really hoping the strategy change is going to work for him.
Space goes up the inside of Snipper Pig, but not quite close enough to make any sort of a move work. They're still side by side. Space going for the cutback here. And, Space lost it a bit on that curb. Very lucky to save the car there. That could have ended in a very big crash.
Breezy is very lucky you saved that car.
Yeah, so now Breezy's right on the back of Space. Space defends to the inside going into the final corner. Breezy will have a good run coming out of the corner. A little bit of a bump there between the two drivers. Breezy right on the back of Real Space here. And Space does have DRS on Snipper Pig. As now they go side by side into turn 1. And Space misses his braking zone and goes very deep. Snipper very smart to see that and go a little bit wide. So Honos now also up at the P5s, and McLaren's in a very good position here in P4 and P5. Breezy trying to go around the outside of Snipper Pig into turn 4, and he might just make it work. They're going to be side by side into turn 6, 7, and 8, or 5, 6, and 7, and it looks like he's had it done.
Incredible pass.
But now Snipper Pig looking to the outside of Breezy. He wants this P2 really bad. As now he'll have the inside line for turns 9 and 10. This is a very hard place to go side by side through, and Breezy lets him have it. As now a very interesting decision there from Honos. Looks like the corner or something. He cut the corner and made a little bit of contact with Breezy there, and now takes the position away from Breezy. So now Honos on the podium. Breezy might be going for the cutback here, and they're side by side behind these drivers, very close here in this top 7.
And while all this is happening, Get That Money and Run 5.4 seconds ahead of Snipper Pig.
Yeah, he's pulling away at almost around 7.5 per lap. Now that Snipper's in clean air and doesn't have to worry about anybody fighting him, we'll be able to see what the gap comes to. And as these soft tires wear out, Snipper Pig will gain a little bit more pace on him as it goes. Breezy looking up the inside of Honos here into turn 1, and he makes the move stick. Gets through and gets up into P3 here. It's now doesn't look like Honos will be close enough to make a move. He will not be. Impulse going for a little bit of a look on Real Space Hero in P5, but not quite close enough to do anything. We'll say it looks like the gap is coming down to P1, so those softs might be wearing out just a little bit here.
These drivers really need to focus on not racing right now and close that gap to P1 so their strategy will work for them.
Absolutely. All these medium drivers having to drive through the field are losing a ton of time. Snipper lost a lot of time. I mean, he had the best chance at being close, but with all the battling he has done so far, that's really put a big damper on him trying to get past Real Space Hero. And Breezy and Honos as well. Great drives so far to get up into P3 and P4.
Snipper Big cutting that time down. Now that
he
he's
gained
clear.
around a half a second or so on that lap. So Snipper using a lot of his ERS deployment here, all this hybrid he can, trying to catch up to that Red Bull in front of him. Breezy and Honos as well trying to keep up with Sniffer Pig. Breezy wants to get into that DRS zone as soon as possible to help him stay ahead of Honos. If he can get into that DRS, it'll be a much lighter threat from the coming behind.
Still very close between all the drivers.
Yeah, this is incredible. I mean, through 9th place is all in this section here in Sector 2. It's really nice and close here. Some great racing so far in this Bahrain GP.
Couldn't agree more.
Snipper 4.5 seconds back from get that money and run. Breezy lost around half a second in that middle sector to Snipper. Honos gaining, but not quite close enough.
He's definitely looking to take that P3 away from Breezy, though.
Real Space Hero slowly dropping back from Honos, and he loses it again and goes off into the runoff area this time. Now they are side by side, and Shawsome, they make contact, and Shawsome spins off of him. Don't hit the wall, Shaw. Don't hit the wall. Now he turns back around and continues on without any damage, luckily. Looked like he was about to murder that wall on the inside.
Very lucky.
Now we come down the pit straight once again, and yeah, the softs are going to start falling off here very soon. It is very hot here in Bahrain, even though it is nighttime. So those softs are going to start getting gummy as Shaw and Dulsac are the first ones to pit here at the end of lap 8. So we will start seeing all these soft runners coming into the pit lane and get that money and runs. Tires are really falling off now. Sniffer Pig within 4 seconds, and Breezy right following pretty closely around 1.5 seconds behind.
Honos just sitting there right behind Breezy, waiting for that little mistake to get his edge to be able to make that pass.
Yeah, McLaren is definitely looking quite racy at the moment. Get That Money and Run has held that 3.9 second gap over this lap. This is most likely an in lap, so he's probably pushing pretty hard here, trying to keep that gap that he has to Snipper behind. Impulse and Sinister Owl. Real Space Hero, actually, he loses it again through that right-hander. Keeps touching that curve on the inside and falling back, so Impulse, Sinister, and Lucas take advantage.
Get That Money and Run does not pit this lap.
Very interesting strategy from him. Neither does the other Red Bull of Impulse. How long is the second Red Bull going to go here? Now Sinister and Impulse are side by side going into turn 1. Real Space Hero does go into the pit lane. His tires were definitely dying there at the end of that stint.
Sinister working his way back up through the pack to working on his strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. But now he has to cut a 4-second gap to Breezy, who got overtaken by Honos while we were watching everybody else. So Honos up into P3 right now and on that podium so far. Got a caution in the end of the middle sector through that same right-hander that Space is having issues with, Masashiro. and the Mercedes. A little bit of a spin there, but he gets it going once again and continues on his way.
It should be noted that Cone Dodger is in 16th place.
Yeah, he's not in last, so congratulations, Cone. I'm being clean so far.
Snipper
Be
Pig,
very interesting.
Snipper Pig's brought that gap down to 3.2 seconds.
I'm just interested in what Impulse is going to do here, because he doesn't want to get held up behind his teammate here. Get that money and run as now he pits out of the lead, so Snipper Pig will inherit the lead with Honos and Breezy coming into the pit lane on the mediums already at the end of lap 9. Very interesting strategy call there from the Alfa Romeo group as Masashiro gets disqualified from the session for going the wrong way.
That's interesting.
As the Mercedes is at the exit of the final corner. It's now disappeared. But we will see. Impulse stayed out for another lap. He's really going to be struggling on those old soft compound tires. Oh, it's a virtual safety car. Oh, wow. So these drivers that pit this lap are going to get a huge advantage here. Zeus also in the pit lane here. Any drivers that can pit now that are coming up to the pit lane, it'd be very wise for them to pit. As I say that, Cone stays out. All these drivers that pit while the virtual safety car was coming out got a huge advantage here. And, I mean, you can tell, I mean, there's a big difference between Get That Money and Run and Breezy now.
Very big. Interesting.
But they did come out in P5 and P6. Very interesting.
Very interesting strategies for Breezy. Going from the mediums, hitting so early, and then going onto the hards.
Yeah, we will see how that strategy works out. It looks like it's going to be soft, hard, or soft, medium for the two-stop drivers. But we will see what these medium compound guys do. They might just flip their strategies a little bit here. Some of these guys might go for a medium soft. As Sinister comes into the pit lane, he will most likely be going on to hards. He's going to be trying to cover up Breezy's undercut. Breezy's not going to have the full effect of this undercut because of that virtual safety car. But he also pitted while the virtual safety car was being deployed, so we will see how much time he does gain on Sinister. Sinister has now left his pit box, and Breezy, coming down the pit straight, will easily take that position away from Sinister. As Impulse as well is right there behind Sinister in the pit lane. Let's see if Sinister does get out in front of Kill the Birdman. It looks like he will, so very close for him. He's going to want to stay in front of these two drivers behind him, because if he gets behind this pack of cars, it's going to be very detrimental to his race.
Yeah, that little pack there is definitely has some pretty quick drivers, so...
The guys that are on the two-stop are all fighting each other right now and losing a ton of time. Dulsac going up the inside of Real Space Hero into turn 4. So these drivers, while they're not in the points right now, are fighting for points-paying positions once everybody pits.
So Sinister Owl doing a very similar strategy to Breezy.
Very interesting. We will see what the Ferrari of Snipper Pig and the McLaren do. McLarens have a completely split strategy, one of them on the one-stop and one on the two-stop. So very heads up from them. As now Sniffer pits and Honos will as well, so they're most likely going on to the hard compound tires as well.
Very
so it looks like
interesting
tire wear here is very big. So now Get That Money Run is coming down the pit straight, and he will inherit the lead with a 2-lap undercut on Snipper Pig and Honos. Breezy might just get by Snipper here as well. It's going to be very close. The Snipper comes out of the pit lane, but the Ferrari will hold position for now, but that Alfa Romeo is going to be looking to take that position away. He's right there on the rear diffuser of the Ferrari. He opens up his DRS and looks to the inside. Those tires on that Ferrari are still not up to temperature, neither are his brakes, and the Alfa takes the position.
If I were them, I would not be racing at this point in the race. They really need to work on gaining time on Get That Money and Run.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The gap is 5.5 seconds after that 2-lap undercut. So, So Get That Money and Run will be on older tires than Snipper, and Honos behind, but Breezy also with that 2-lap undercut takes the position away from Snipper Pig and is now in P2.
Very interesting turn of events throughout this entire race. Starting off with a lot of position changes in the opening laps, and then very interesting strategy calls from almost every driver.
Yeah, this is definitely a strategic race here. Last year's winning strategy was the soft, medium, soft 2-stop. So we will see if the 1-stop or the 2-stop prevails. Currently, because all the 2-stopping drivers have been battling each other, it looks like the 2-stop might not have been the way to go. If they would have just held form and raced it out cleanly and just held line while they came out of the pit lane, it might have been a little bit easier for them to try to get this win.
I'm looking at Snipper slowly gaining on Breezy, wondering if he's going to go for the move or just stay behind and hope to gain that time. Because they are slowly gaining on Get That Money and Run.
Yeah, they're very slowly getting there, and as the stint goes on, Snipper will have the pace advantage over both of the cars in front of him. And Honos as well has caught up quite tremendously on the two drivers in front, around 5 or 6 tenths since he came out of the pit lane. And Sinister around 5.5 seconds back from P4 here. So he's going to have to start putting in some tremendous lap times if he wants to be on the podium this week.
It has to be said that McLaren orange looks beautiful under these nighttime lights.
Absolutely. That orange and blue looks absolutely stunning under the lights here. And I bet you it looks even better at Singapore.
When Coco did leave, hopefully he can get back in.
Really hope so. We don't want another AI car tragedy in this race. We've got a 3-car train here in 4P2. Let's see if these drivers try to work together or if they battle it out. Honos has caught up to Snipper Pig and Breezy here. He's in our DRS. So we'll see if Snipper Pig decides to try to pass Breezy to get a little, to try to see if he can catch up to get that money faster than Breezy is. But Breezy has cut around 6 tenths of that gap down so far.
Yeah, they definitely seem like they're working together, which is, especially for Snipper, the best strategy possible. Snipper and Honos having the 2-lap fresher tires at the end of this stint, they're going to be looking very great.
Yeah, and the 2-stop runners are now starting to get to the back of the 1-stoppers. Space here, closing up to Lucas and Racer X. In the middle of all these 2-stop drivers, there's only 3 guys on the 2-stop here so far. Entire field almost on the hard compound tires, except for Imperial, who hasn't pit yet, and the 3 2-stoppers.
See, Imperial's strategy is much more what I expected from the front runners. Where, staying longer on those mediums and then pitting for another set of mediums or the hards.
Shawson gets the move done for the last points paying position in P10 on Dulsac. To Get That Money and Run is losing a little bit of his gap to Breezy behind. They've ate up around around a second here on this lap, more or less. So these drivers are going to want to stay in line as much as possible until they catch up to get that money. Then once they get there, they're going to be flying around like a pack of wolves.
They definitely are working together very well, which is very rare for drivers because, you know, drivers like this, they tend to be very racy, and it's good to see them put that away for a little bit and sit down and say, we need to gain on this guy, work together, then we'll race it out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, these guys all want this race win. All four of these guys in this top four get that money, and Honos want redemption for last week's performance, very poor performance from those two drivers to their standard. Breezy missed last week, so he really needs these points. Awesome and Dulsac, the first of the two stoppers to pit here. So they'll be going on the mediums here at the end of this race.
Then as well, you have Snipper Pig very much wanting to get that win after last week's being run off the track by a certain driver 4 times. He definitely wants redemption after last week.
And they have closed almost a second here once again as they come through turns 9 and 10. Around 8/10 that lap. So the gap is coming down quite considerably here to the Red Bull out in front. So we will see how the strategy pans out. Drivers, it looks like all the guys that started on mediums, it's really working out quite well for them.
Very, very good race for Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari.
And I mean, Alpha is going to bring home a good haul of points as well if Breezy stays up into P2. Honos and Snipper Pig starting the battle just a little bit. They don't need to be doing that too much, but Honos thinks he has more pace than Snipper in that Ferrari. So now he looks to the inside, and he'll be trying to take this position away from the Ferrari into turn 1. He might just get it done. The Ferrari trying to holding around the outside. And he'll have the inside for turn 2, but then Honos just flies right on around the outside. So Honos jumps up into P3 and is now on the podium.
Risky moves that I'm not sure are really worth it in this stage of the race.
Yeah, they still have 11 laps to go. And they should really be trying to work together here instead of going against each other. Ghostface Hero is retired from the session. Not quite sure why. We'll might figure it out here soon. He went into the pit lane and retired, and then his car came back out onto the track. That is wonderful. So we will see what happens. Thankfully, he did retire, and it shows him his DNF, so maybe the car will pull off to the side and stop. That's what I'm hoping for here.
He did follow the rules,
anymore.
but...
Yeah, he's not classified anymore, so it should be okay. I'm sure his AI will most likely pull off because it's going very slowly.
Zeus gets a 5-second penalty.
That is going to cost him that 1 point in P10, so if he holds on to it from Dilson, who is on those fresh mediums, that'll cost him that position and relegate him to P12. Very important penalty here. As Honos tries to go up the inside of Breezy, Honos thinks, nah, boys, I've got more pace than you guys. I think I can catch him. But Breezy was a little bit of defensive driving there. Says, hey, we need to work together. But Honos goes to up the inside once again into turn 4. And it looks like he might just take the position here. Breezy trying to get the cutback, but not quite there. Lucas gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. These three drivers are so close to get each other, but as long as they keep fighting, they're not going to be gaining any time.
Maybe Honos does have that pace, and they might gain a little faster now that he's in front, but... and he loses it. Loses the back end slightly.
All that work, and he's now relegated back into P4 at the exit of turn 10, so... all that fighting, all it did was just lose them half a second. They come up to the McLaren that is retired, so it looks like that car's going for another lap to go back into the pit lane. Very interesting that AI didn't just pull off of the track. That's what it usually does. Very awkward.
Yes. not ideal.
Absolutely not ideal. Hopefully this doesn't mess anybody up. Maybe that car will be ghosted since it has DNF from the session. Zipper has a little bit of a look to Breezy, more or less telling him, hey, you need to get a move on or else I'm going to go for it. As Breezy's not really gaining on Get That Money and Run anymore. Get That Money holding that 3-second gap pretty strong, and looks like he might just be the favorite here with 9 laps to go to win this GP.
Those I'm wondering if Breezy's tires might start losing him that advantage at this point.
Yeah, I mean, these two, Snipper and Honos, with that 2-lap fresher tires on their cars, they're going to be considerably faster than Breezy towards the end of this stint. And the switch will be pretty soon. As the McLaren's going for another lap. Why? Why is it still on the track? Now it pulls off track. Thank God. Finally, the McLaren pulls off track and will retire from the race.
Good. Definitely needed to happen like 2 laps ago.
Yeah. Very interesting that the AI does that. Maybe you have to retire from the session before you enter your pit box or something. I don't know.
Drew Yu has left.
Drew Yu was already retired anyways, so.
I noticed that after I said it.
Now, Breezy has pulled back a few tenths here on this lap, around 5 or 6. So now that gap is slowly starting to come down once again. It was around 2.3 seconds, or 3.3 seconds last time out. Now it's 0.7.
It will, it's going to be interesting. He's starting to meet lap traffic, which obviously it should, they should be out of the way, but we've seen before that sometimes even getting out of the way, you can compromise somebody a few tenths.
Yeah, the first driver that they will have to worry about in this lead pack will be Colin Dodger, the LMP2 driver, turned F1 driver here, making his debut in the series. In a last-ditch effort in getting somebody into the lobby, and as I'm watching him, he almost spins out there through that right-hander.
Cone Dodger, I just realized Cone Dodger is officially the opposite of Pastor Maldonado. P2 to F1, whereas Pastor was F1 to P2.
I'm sure that'll be a great compliment to him. So, the Haas pulls over to the right-hand side, and most likely is taking the Red Bull through. Yes, he is. So, not. I guess Colin's going to battle him here. Colin does go off track to get out of the way.
I don't think it was an intentional battle, but...
Colin showing a little bit of nervousness there, and that really helped these drivers behind. They gained around a second in that incident. So, Get That Money to Run. Going to be cursing in that helmet right now at the Haas driver. So now these drivers might get a little more racy here once Breezy gets into that DRS. As soon as that Ferrari behind sees that DRS flap open on that Alpha, he's going to be gunning for that position.
Got around Glen Coco easily enough. Little sketchy for a Snipper Pig, but they got around.
Great job there from the Renault driver, and it doesn't look like they'll lap anybody else. The Imperial's the next closest car, and it's around 20-25 seconds up the road. Get That Money and Run pulls a little bit of an advantage there. Pulls around 5 tenths on the rest of this field.
Oh,
Honos
wow.
goes for 2 and 1 here. Goes considerably deep into the corner and dropped back into P4. That'll be costing these drivers time. Is now Snipper gonna be trying to get past Breezy here, but they need to work together just a little bit longer and get up into that DRS of Get That Money and Run. If they can swallow up that Red Bull, then they can start fighting for the win instead of P2. Surex just came into the pit lane, comes out onto the softs, keeps his P8, and sets the fastest lap of the race on the soft compound tires, and will be closing in quite considerably on P7. He'll be one to watch coming through this field at the end of this race if we're not watching this battle.
They're right there within 1.5 seconds, 1.6. Just they need to work together that little bit more time just to gain that second.
Yeah, and Breezy's car is starting to look a little bit unstable here through these fast corners, so you can tell his tires are starting to get a little bit worn here as he does pull a couple of tenths on Get That Money Run, who I'm sure has been pushing this entire time. ERS deployment to the maximum. Get That Money Run going down to the pit wall to try to break any sort of slipstream that the Alpha might be able to get on him. So now they all go through into turn one once again. So close to that DRS zone. He might just be close enough by the detection point in Sector 2. As long as they don't battle here going into turn 4, they do stay single file.
Very interesting.
So Breezy 1.1 seconds back.
The ERS levels of the top three are very interesting.
Yes, they are. So we've got Snipper on a ton of ERS deployment. Get That Money Run, Breezy, very low on their ERS, and Honos also has a lot left in the tank. So looks like Snipper has a pretty big advantage here, and he's not using very much of it as well. Get That Money and Run is on overtake deployment mode, trying to stay away, but Breezy's already in that.
I think Snipper's got I think Snipper and Honos really got that strategy. They've just been holding back, letting their ERS charge up, ready for that big burst to just get the pass done.
Yeah, Get That Money and Run in that Red Bull is about to lose all of his ERS. He's been on the overtake setting at 4 for this entire third sector, and he's about to run out. He's going to have 0% here coming up towards the final corner, or the first corner. As Breezy gets past going into turn 1, and Snipper Big's looking up the inside and does not quite get there quick enough. He's still on the outside. He's run a little bit wide there and drops down into P4. Honos next up to try to get past Get That Money and Run, and he locks up a little bit, makes contact with the Red Bull, and almost spins to the inside. So now Breezy's going to be the one out front trying to hold this gap. But it still needs to be said, Snipper does have the most ERS deployment saved up.
I'm wondering when he's planning on using it. He doesn't have that many laps left.
Yeah, it does deplete very fast. I mean, if you look at Breezy's depletion rate here, he's on 4, and it's falling down quite considerably. So now he does put it onto the 3 depletion here, so we'll see what happens. See what he can do here coming through this middle sector, coming up to 4 laps to go here as they cross the stripe. Get That Money and Run. Now he's basically a sitting duck here coming onto the pit straight. He's got 12% battery left, and Honos in that DRS behind him is on he's on full overtake mode here. As Get That Money and Run is at 1, so Honos will easily breeze past here and take P2 away from the Red Bull. Red Bull gives the McLaren a little bit of a nudge there in the rear.
Red Bull loses an end plate on his front wing.
Now Snipper's really going to be trying to get past here. He's got DRS, but didn't deploy it until very late, and definitely should have deployed it because that Red Bull is going to be very slow here coming through this middle sector. It's going to allow Honos to get away from these two drivers for now is now Snipper Pig. Great view here in this helicopter cam. Goes up the inside. They do a little bit of wheel banging here. So he'll have the outside for 9 and 10, and he will be going for it here. He's going to try to hold on to it, get that money and run. Still holding on to it here. They're still side by side. Now Snipper pulls back into the slipstream. Now pulls back to the inside here for turn 11. Not quite close enough to actually make it stick. He's still side by side here. He's going to try to go around the outside here. They both go wide. Now Snipper will be going for the cutback here, and he might just get it done here. Oh my God, great racing from these two. But now, because he's been stuck behind Get That Money and Run, who has that glossed end plate, he's 2 seconds back from Honos. This is really hurting him a lot, and Breezy a full second ahead of the McLaren driver. Now Get That Money and Run looking to the outside once again of Snipper Pig, and they're going to be side by side going into turn 1. Ferrari trying to hold on to it, but the Red Bull getting past and holding on to the position for now, or taking the position back for now. Now Snipper trying to get this podium position here. He needs it for his championship. Look the inside of the Red Bull, and he will get it done here. Going into Sector 2, very crucial for him that he doesn't lose another 2.5 seconds to the guys in front.
He's really got to play his cards right to be able to gain this time back in a reasonable manner.
Breezy's tires here at the end of this race will start falling off quite considerably, as well as Get That Money and Runs. Honos within DRS once again of the Alfa Romeo, and Snipper Pig will be pushing extra hard here on these hard compound tires. Zeus and Dulsac side by side going to turn 4. I'm just watching the track map here. I'll jump down into this battle, and Zeus holds on to it for now. They're battling for this final points making position, but if Dulsac knew that he'd just have the position anyways, he probably wouldn't be battling. So now Honos in that DRS of Breezy. He has 40%, but he's saving it. Look at that. He's got it on 0. Very smart here from Honos, trying to outsmart his opponent of Breezy here. Just build up quite a bit of ERS deployment to use. Snipper starting to drain his considerably here, trying to catch up to these lead 2 cars. Now Honos has been on 0 deployment for basically this entire lap. He's still gained on Breezy, so Honos understands that he just needs to wait for the final lap to get the overtake done, because if you try to go for it, I mean, if you're on the pit straight in P1 on the final lap, you're going to be a sitting duck.
That being said, Snipper definitely coming back.
If these two start battling here before the end of this race, Snipper could very easily get up onto the one of the top 2 steps on the podium. Now they are catching a lapped car of Imperial as well. So that might play a little bit of a factor in this race. We will see as the race progresses. Now Honos and Breezy still in close proximity of each other. Honos now using that ERS deployment. He's got it all the way up. Breezy used quite a bit of his on that back straight, so he's very low. And Honos has all of what he wants, all the tools going on to the final lap. And this is exactly what I'm saying. We'll see if Breezy can hold on to it. They're both on 5. Breezy goes defensive into turn 1. Honos looking to the outside. They make a little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel banging between the two drivers, and now they come through turn 2. Honos goes a little bit wide there and gives Breezy the shove there off the track. As now they go side by side into turn 4 once again. Cone gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring blue flags. Now Honos takes the lead away from Breezy here, as the Renault does the very smart thing and just pulls off the track to allow those drivers through. And
very, very exciting last lap.
Impulse gets a 10-second time penalty there, so he might just get relegated here into P7, as now for the final time here they will have DRS. I don't know which one it was. Breezy looking to the outside
Oh.
of Honos. They have a little bit of contact there. Breezy goes around the outside. He'll have the inside for this next corner. Honos trying to get the cutback, and they hit each other. And Snipper takes the lead of the GP. As now Get That Money Run comes through and hits Honos as well. So Honos is going to drop like a rock in this race. Where's Sinister Owl here? Sinister comes through to take P4. And so this means that the Scarlet Red Ferrari, here at the end of the race, the Ferrari of Sniffer Pig nabs that win. Get That Money Run, comes across the line in P2. Breezy filling out the rest of the podium in P3. Sister comes home in yet another P4 here. And Honos in P5. Fireworks here at the end of this race. Literally and figuratively. Impulse comes across the line in P6, but we'll see if he's the one with the time penalty or not. Whenever Lucas crosses the line, Lucas had a time penalty himself. Racer X comes across the line to finish P8 with the fastest lap of the race. It's awesome. Now, coming around the final corner, he will finish in P10. Zeus, 9. Zeus comes around to get P10. And the final finishers will be Dillsack and Kill the Birdman, Imperial, Cone, and Glen Coco.
Wow. What a
race.
Final lap.
That was sensational. Sensational racing there. Very fun to watch. So Sniffer Pig gets redemption from Australia and takes the win here. The first win of the season for that Scarlet Red Ferrari. First podium of the year for the Red Bull driver of Get That Money and Run. And then Breezy comes home in P3 for some solid points in that Alfa Romeo team. Wow, what a race. Very fun to watch with all these strategies panning out here. Very fun to watch. Sniffer Pig once again wins the Bahrain GP here for Ferrari. Get That Money and Run comes home in P2. Breezy comes home in P3. Sinister Owl and Honos P4 and P5. Great drives from them from where they started in P8 to in P10 to get some solid points here at Bahrain. Impulse in P6, the first of the drivers that started on the soft compound tires. Lucas in P7. Racer X, the first driver that had a two-stop strategy, as well as Shawsome, Zeus, and Dulsac. They were all P8 through P11. The final finishers outside of the points were Dulsac, Kill the Birdman, Imperial, and Cone Dodger. Oh, and Glen Coco. And then the retirees of this race were Real Space Hero, Drew U24, and Masha Shiro.
Incredible race. A little bit of drama, but not anywhere near like last race, but wow.
Absolutely. That was very fun to watch. That all just came together so well there at the end with the different strategies. Very fun to watch.
Yes.
So, once again, congratulations for that Scarlet Red Ferrari. And on behalf of the entirety of the UDL, this has been round 2 of Season 2 and the UDL F1 League Championship. My name has been Mr. Damage.
I have been Jonathan.
And we will see you guys next time out for round 3.
Goodbye, everyone.